Good Monday Matters. I hope you had a good Sabbath and are looking forward to a new week and all that God has in store for you. My name is Mike Courtney and this is Monday Matters. I last week began this by talking about the new background we were going to have all the time, and now here I am in a different background. Jacob and Allison are out of the country, and they take these wonderful trips, and we get to come down and babysit our two grandsons, which, to be honest, we'd rather do that than go out of the country anyway. So we've been with Caleb and Amos since last Tuesday. We'll be here another day, about a week. We get to be with them. It's been fun taking them to ball games and taking them to school and feeding them candy and getting them all jazzed up for when their parents return. But it's been a good week. So I'm using this as the background to talk about something to make your life happier, healthier, and perhaps a little bit holier. I will be candid and tell you that the thought started with the sermon from their church. We went to their church, Southcrest Church in Noonan, Georgia. It's a great church. Matt McFadden, Pastor Caleb, they are pastors there, lead pastors, and they're just great young men, great young church, and Doris and I are very happy that Jacob and Allison are in that church. But Matt was preaching yesterday on wrapping up a series on Ecclesiastes and preaching on the last chapter. And the last two verses prompted something in me, and I want to talk to you about managing the middle. Managing the middle. My friend Robert was speaking a few years ago, and he was asking me, because I do a lot of speaking, he doesn't do as much, and asking me about how to prepare. And I said, here's what I've always done. I work really hard on the beginning, write out almost word for word the introduction, and write out word for word the conclusion, the beginning and the end, and I figure whatever happens in the middle will kind of take care of itself. That's kind of what Ecclesiastes chapter 12 is about. Here's just the last two verses, verses 13 and 14 of Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Now all has been heard. Here's the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil. And Matt, when he read that, he said there are two primary questions in life, and this passage answers those. The two questions are, what is our purpose for life, and what happens after we die? And the answer is, our purpose for life is God. Fear God, do what he tells you to do, and what happens after we die is judgment. I think that's probably true. And I think if it's true, then knowing what's at the beginning and knowing what's at the end makes it far easier for me to just manage the middle. All I have to do is manage the middle. I need to make sure that I start with the right thing, and then I know where that's going to take me, and I just manage the middle. I get all caught up on what's way out ahead there. I get all caught up in what happened behind me, and really my job is just to manage the middle. That's true for life. It's true for a task or an assignment. It's true for the day. I begin the day with God. I end the day with God. I know he's going to be there at the beginning. I know he's going to be there at the end. All I have to do is just manage the middle. It takes so much pressure off of me. It makes life so much easier to know that the big stuff, where we start, where we end, that's already taken care of. All I have to focus on is really the small stuff. That's what happens in the middle. I just have to manage the middle. And so life is about managing the middle. That means I do three things, I think. That means I focus in the middle on knowing as much about him as I possibly can, on trying to see him in every circumstance, on trying to be aware of him in every opportunity and in every challenge, on just knowing what is it that God is trying to say to me in this thing. Knowing God. It means I spend as much time as I possibly can on loving him, on learning to love him more, on learning to love him when things are going great, on learning to love him when there's a challenge, at at learning to love him, and allowing all of the middle to be centered around that. And then serving him, doing what he wants me to do. Where does he, I see Millie over there over my shoulder. What what does God want me to do in this situation? Out of this situation, what is God trying to say to me? Where is God trying to take me? So all I have to do is manage the middle. The beginning takes care of itself, the end takes care of itself. And in case you think I'm the only person that ever thought that, John chapter 16, reading verse 28, Jesus is really in the middle of this upper room discourse, we call it, when he is on Passover. He is talking to his disciples. He's told them to love one another in John 13. He's told them to don't worry about the future. You believe in God, believe also in me. In John 14, he's told them that I'm the vine, you're the branches, just abide in me in John 15. And in John 16, he said, hey, it's important for you that I go away so that the Holy Spirit can come. And then he's leading into the high priestly prayer in John 17, where he prays, Father, sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. But here's what he says in verse 28. This is Jesus talking. I came from the Father and entered the world. Now I am leaving the world and going back to the Father. All he has to do is manage the middle. God was there at the beginning. God will be there at the end. That's true for me. God's there at the beginning. God will be there at the end. My job's not hard. All I have to do is manage the middle. And that's what your job is today too. Start today with God, end today with God, and just manage the middle. Well, that's kind of what this video was about. So God bless you. Have a great day. I gotta go back inside with those two boys and manage the middle. It's tough sometimes.